Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mr. J's Geek Corner Extra. And today I'm going to be talking about as y'all have heard, talking about some breaking news that happened this past week. As y'all probably heard about the controversy brewing behind the Batgirl number 41 variant, Joker variant, 75-year variant cover that's supposed to come out. As y'all know, they've released all the bonus covers are supposed to look like. All the variant covers are supposed to look like for all of DC, celebrating 75 years of the Joker and everything. And the one for Batgirl came out, and it's caused all grades of it come under fire. DC's come under fire for this cover has such dark themes to it and everything. And they pulled it because of all the complaints and controversy that it stirred up online. Well, I'm gonna give a few of my thoughts on that. But before I do that, I'm gonna show you what the cover looks like. And for those of y'all out there might be that I apologize in advance if this offends you or anything, but I'm going to say it's kind of dark, it's kind of graphic looking, so brace yourself, viewer discretion advised. This is the cover supposed to have been the variant cover for Batgirl number 41. Y'all can see there. Y'all can see there real good. Excuse me. Sorry about that, it's going off now. Y'all can see it real good. Trying to show it to you, can't get it up there real good. You see, Joker. If y'all remember the Joker, the Batman story, the Batman the Killing Joke, where Joker essentially cripples and humiliates Barbara Gordon in a very dark way. And this is what that's supposed to be an homage to, is that, but it stirred up all grades of controversy amongst folks saying, "Oh, that's way too dark." I mean, this book is geared more towards a broader audience and more toward it's supposed to be the way they've turned Batgirl into so much of a hero for young girls and stuff like that. And how dare they put such as that on the front of a cover? Well, I'm gonna just say it's a dark story. It more reflects the subject matter of that story, and it's a really dark story. And there are folks that say they need to get past that and everything. Well, in terms of the Killing Joke, it may have been the darkest time for Barbara Gordon, but in the end, Barbara Gordon rose above that. She got past it, and she rose up. And she rose above that and became an even stronger character after that. She became basically the computer info center of the DC universe, you might as well say. It basically not only helped found the Birds of Prey, which essentially a team of female heroes. But also she helps out Batman. Think about it. Batman comes to her for info in the pre-52. Batman came to her in the pre-50. And in the pre-52, Batman came to her for info. Dick Grayson come to her for info. Superman. I don't know of any instance, but I know about everybody in DC Universe that needs info, they come to her. She's the minds. She's she's basically the information center of the DCU, just shy of Brainiac, you might as well say. Only she's a hero. And even in the pre-52, they made allusions to she may one day get out of that wheelchair and go back to action again as a hero. As a throwing kicks and punches hero, just like she was in the days of old. But that being said, this cover is not appropriate for the way that the new 52 has been gearing Batgirl. They've been, see, the way they've done it lately, it's another one of Dan Didio's ideas, you might as well say. It's something, no doubt, from his mind, no doubt, that I almost just estimate Batgirl's age, Barbara Gordon's age right now being about, in the pre-52, I'd estimate she'd probably be maybe mid to late 30s, maybe into her 40s. Well, when the new 52 started, they de-aged her. They de-aged her back from being 40 back into her 20s again. I'd say mid to late 20s. Or I'd say maybe early to mid 20s when she was in the armored suit and everything. Well, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they decided to make Batgirl, quote unquote, trendy. They decided to make her trendy and probably try to broaden her audience to like teenage girls and younger girls. So what do? They changed her costume. Instead of wearing like the battle armor that essentially all the other Bat families wearing, they decided to put her in this kind of almost leather outfit, kind of leather, I guess, like this leather jacket looking top and these leather pants, these boots that look like something trendy like you see teenagers wear, and with a cape and cowl attached and everything. She basically makes a new costume that looks trendy. It looks like something a teenager would wear. But it doesn't end there. When they first released the first image of her doing that whole selfie in the bathroom mirror thing, they de-aged her again from being in her 20s to, you might as well say, essentially being a 14-year-old freshman in high school. What is that about? I know it's one thing if you want to make something trendy and make it popular with a younger audience, but they just, for no reason at all, she goes from looking like she's in her 20s to looking like she's in her teens. What is that? How do you de-age somebody in the process of a story without tweaking history in some cosmic event like they're fixing to do with Convergence? How do you do that? How do you de-age somebody from being like maybe between 20 and 25 years old to being 14 years old in the course of a story without tweaking history, without tweaking the timeline or tweaking her personal time continuum type thing? How do you do that? That doesn't make any sense, really. But that's beside the point. The fact that they've geared her now so much from, instead of being like towards like hardcore fans, to trying to reach out to younger fans, like maybe little teens and tweens, to the teens and tweens crowd. The fact that they've done that, and then they did this cover that no doubt the newer generation knows nothing about. It just doesn't look right. It don't look appropriate. It doesn't look appropriate. And also, I'll say this. You probably wouldn't heard word one. I'm gonna say what really that is basically the base of the controversy, is the fact that she looks so young. I mean, it might would have stirred up a little controversy if she was like still in her 30s or maybe in her 20s, something like that. But the fact she looks like a teenager is what stirred up all this. She looks so much, but there's the fact that they have de-aged her back to being a high schooler, being high school Batgirl. The fact that they've de-aged her back into that is the reason, and back to into a 14-year-old girl in a bat suit. That's why this stirred up so much controversy. And I will say, if it was not for the fact that she looks like a teenage girl, and she looks like a 14-year-old freshman in high school on the front of that cover, you wouldn't have heard anything. You really wouldn't have heard anything. I mean, there might would have been a little bit of controversy, but nothing to the degree that you heard when this comic cover was released. You wouldn't have heard, probably wouldn't have heard anything, really. If Batgirl had stayed in her 20s and 30s, you probably wouldn't have heard word one. But the fact that Batgirl on this cover and in the comic looks so much like a freshman in high school, a 14-year-old girl, with this dude, his arm around her like that, and she's about to cry her eye. She's scared for her life in front of that. Had she not looked the age she had, you wouldn't have heard anything. You wouldn't have heard word one about any of this. It would have gone on. It would have come out, and would have sold out. You wouldn't have heard anything. But the fact that she looks like a teenage girl, that's what. The fact she looks like a teenage girl, that's what all the fury's about. And I'm gonna say I personally blame DC for this. I blame Dan Didio for this. Because the fact that when I heard in an interview that the guy who did this cover, he said that his original cover was not supposed to look like this. They rejected his original cover, saying they wanted it to be darker. So this is the cover he wound up making, and they approved it. He sent in that cover, and they approved that, but they didn't approve his first one. They ain't no telling what his first one was. It probably was something completely harmless, but they wanted something darker. Which it seems to be the credo of DC nowadays. Do something that will shock people for a cheap shock. You know, like, oh, I don't know. No, not just DC. It seems to be Dan Didio's credo nowadays. Like shock the crowd, make controversy. I don't know. Identity crisis. Does that ring a bell? Does that controversy ring a bell? That was Dan Didio's fault. Dan Didio put the plot point in there about Dr. Light and Sue Dibney. I ain't gonna say what it is on this program because it's that is adult content, and I'm not gonna talk about it. Just like the whole entire thing that happened with Barbara Gordon and Killing Joke. I'm not going to mention that other than the fact she was crippled and humiliated. I ain't going to talk about that because that's adult content. But Identity Crisis, that was all Dan Didio because he thought it would be a good shocker for readers. He thought it would make for a good plot. And I'm gonna say you don't need that in a comic. Y'all out there know what I'm talking about. You know exactly. Have read a comic. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That's all Dan Didio. And I guarantee you, he had everything to do with not only de-aging Barbara Gordon like this, but making that cover. He had everything to do with it. I know I've been doing a lot of Didio bashing like that, but he is everything that is wrong with DC right now. As I mentioned in the last show, that the whole thing with why heroes don't look like heroes anymore, that's him. And this is him too. The fact that they've de-aged Batgirl to being a 14-year-old girl, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with trying to gear stuff for a younger audience and trying to give them a hero to look up to. But the fact that they've turned somehow, with no sense to the story, turn somebody from a 20-year-old into a 14-year-old without tweaking the universe whatsoever. What is that? You go to make somebody look like a superhero, trying to look like a trendy, some kind of trendy teenager for no reason. I mean, they may have had a reason why she got the new costume and everything, but why are you making her look like a high schooler? And also, I'm gonna direct this direct at Dan Didio. Why are you doing stuff like this? This cover. Why are you doing stuff like this? You trying to make people mad at you? Because that's certainly what you got. And what you end up with? A whole lot of ticked off fans and a pulled comic cover. And I'm gonna say it again. I may not read the New 52. But what they're talking about is going on with the comics does not match with that. The direction they got going with that series does not match that cover. And they ain't got no business doing that. Especially with the way Batgirl looks. And as I said, if it weren't for the fact that she looked like a teenager, you wouldn't have heard word one. The fact that she looks like a 14-year-old girl, that's why you heard so much controversy. Had she looked like an adult, you probably wouldn't want to heard anything. But this is why. It's totally inappropriate, and I'm going to say it. It should not have been done. It really should not have been done. Well, what do y'all think? Did they do the right thing pulling this cover? Should they have not done it at all? Do you think it is way overboard? Do you agree with disagree with them doing what they've done with Batgirl? Let me know. I can definitely say I disagree with what they've done with it because there's no reason for doing that. But I digress. What do y'all think? As always, drop a comment in the comment box. I would love to hear what y'all have to say on this subject. And as I've said before, if you don't like what Dan Didio's doing, let him know. Let him know how you feel and let him display your disgust to him. And I guess that's all for this week's edition of Mr. J's Geek Corner. That's all for this Geek Corner Extra, I should say. And as always, you have any comments about the show whatsoever, drop me a comment in the comment box. Like, subscribe, share with all your friends, tell all your friends. You have any ideas about things you want to hear me talk about on the show? Drop me a comment in the comment box. I'm always looking for fresh new topics and subjects to talk about and to discuss on this show. Drop me a comment and drop your ideas in the comment box. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your ideas, and you never know, we may be making a new episode of Mr. J's Geek Corner. So definitely drop your ideas in the comment box. I can't wait to hear your ideas, and I would love to hear them. I'll see y'all next time.